Hi, this is Pat Jennings again from thebizseller.com, and today I want to deal with a question that I hear an awful lot from business sellers. And it's the kind of question that when you handle it correctly, it can have a dramatic effect on you maximizing your selling price. And the question is, when it comes time to negotiate, who should begin the price negotiations? The business buyer or the business seller? Unfortunately, this is a very simple question because you always, and I mean always, want to have the buyer make the first price offer in any price negotiations. And here's why. You see, if you've done things correctly up to this point, you've already put your asking price in any of the business for sale ads that you've run, and you've also put your asking price and financing terms that you've offered in any of the written overview type information that you've provided the buyer along the lines of a selling memorandum. So your advertised asking price is your opening offer in the price negotiations. If the buyer wants a better price than that, he can make a counter offer. If you start the price negotiations by making a second price offering that's lower than the price that you put in your advertisements, before the buyer has even made one price offering, you've already shot yourself in the foot when it comes to negotiating. You're sending the message to that buyer that you don't know what your business is worth and that you'll take whatever you can get. And from that point forward, that buyer is going to try to nickel and dime you down on the price until there's nothing left. So if the buyer wants a better price than you stated in your advertising, let him make a counter offer. Now, I suggest that you always add a cushion of at least 10% to your asking price, over and above the price that you actually hope to sell for. This way, you always give yourself room to negotiate. And believe me, you're going to have to negotiate. There's no way you can get around it. By setting a rock bottom price, you're not going to avoid negotiating. You're just going to set yourself up for a situation where you have nowhere to go. So always add a cushion over and above what you'd really like to sell for so that you have room to negotiate. Now, if the buyer says something to you like, what can you really sell this business for? What are you really willing to take for it? Or how low can you go on the price? Remind them of your advertised price. Re-explain to them how you arrived at that price and why you think it's fair. And then if they want a better deal than that, let them make a counter offer. And when they do make a counter offer, make sure that you always ask that buyer how he arrived at that price. Why does he think it's fair? Always get them to justify any counter offer that they make to you, because the answers they give you to those questions will tell you an awful lot about, one, how realistic they're being, and two, how prepared they are. So here's the 4 points that I want you to take away. One, your advertised asking price is your opening price offer in the negotiations. Two, always include a cushion of at least 10% over and above your desired selling price so that you give yourself room to negotiate. Three, expect to negotiate. There's no way around it. Buyers want to negotiate because it's the way of testing to see if they're getting a good deal. So point number 3 is expect and prepare for negotiations. And point number 4 is anytime that buyer makes a counter offer, have them explain it, have them justify it, ask them how they arrived at that price and why they think it's fair. Now, if you found any of this helpful and you'd like more tips, information, advice on selling your business as fast as possible and for as much money as possible, go to thebizseller.com and sign up for my free weekly Sell Your Business Tips newsletter. That's thebizseller.com. Just enter your first name and email address, and the current issue will be on its way to your mailbox. And then every week thereafter, for once a week, you'll get a new edition of my newsletter. And each week I'll cover a different topic about selling your business. And also there's a lot of questions and answers in the newsletter. Questions I get from viewers like you about the seller's particular situation, and I answer them and I include those in the newsletter. So thebizseller.com, enter your first name and email address, and the current issue of my newsletter will be on the way to your mailbox. Thanks. This is Pat Jennings.